Kirby Smart and the Dogs just got a huge advantage over Alabama and Texas because the news came out today that both of those games will be under the lights in Sanford Stadium. More games were announced today. Basically, the whole schedule has been announced of when Georgia will play their games in 2025, and that's what this video is about. We're going to be breaking down the new kickoff times that were released today and go over the schedule to make sure that you know when the best chance is to go see your Georgia Bulldogs in Athens or on the road. It's going to be probably the best home football schedule that Georgia's ever had. Alabama will come to Athens at night, September 27th. That is a 7:30 kickoff time. And I'm telling you right now, place is going to be electric. Georgia, Alabama under the lights. I cannot wait. I hope it is as electric as it was last year in Tuscaloosa. You could tell that it was Alabama's biggest game of the season. The crowd was wild. And you could just tell by the environment that it wasn't Auburn, it wasn't LSU, it was Georgia that Alabama had circled on the schedule. That was their biggest game of the season, and the crowd brought it. It made a big impact on the game. So if you're a Georgia fan and you've got tickets for that Alabama game, you need to be screaming the entire time. We know how crazy an atmosphere Georgia can be. Now, it's not always consistent, right? Georgia fans don't always show up when South Carolina comes to town, or Missouri, or Kentucky, or State, or Arkansas, so on and so on. But when the game means a lot, right? It is a big game. Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, whoever, Notre Dame, when they come to town, the Georgia fans always step up. And they're going to have a chance to do that several times this season. So Alabama comes to town September 27th at 7:30. Kentucky at Georgia, October 4th. That's a noon game, okay? Crowd still needs to bring it, but noon game, Georgia should take care of business, and you can go home and watch all the other games. Georgia at Mississippi State on November 8th. That is also a noon game. It'll be an 11 a.m. kickoff over there, over in the Bonies in Starkville. Not a great town. We went over there to cover that game in 2022. I thought the stadium is underrated. I mean, the cowbells and all were really annoying, but the place got loud. Mainly, I think, because Georgia was in town, right? Best team in the country. The crowd brought their A game. Didn't matter. But it was a pretty decent atmosphere. That was at night. It's going to be at 11 a.m. On November 8th. So noon Eastern time, 11 Central time. Georgia plays at Mississippi State. Charlotte plays at Georgia November 22nd. That is at 12:45. So probably should be a noon game. And to be honest, those games should be at 11 a.m., right? Marshall, Austin Peay, Charlotte, those should kick off at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Get them over with so we can go home, do our work, and watch the other games. So that just personal opinion. Georgia-Auburn on October 11th. That is a night game over on the Plains. One of the best atmospheres in college football. Every time we go cover a game at Auburn, the crowd is ready. They are riled up. It can get insanely loud over there. I will give them all the credit for that. It is a great environment. And again, probably because the Dogs are in town, I'm assuming it's great when other teams are in town too. LSU, Alabama, of course, and others. But when Georgia comes to town, the fans give it their best at night. So it's between 6 and 8. So there's no guaranteed time yet. And here's some notes. I'm reading the story that we have over on Dawg Post right now. So make sure you're checking that out. Because there's always a chance that I miss something. Kennesaw State grad. I'm not the best reader. Sometimes I forget things. My wife, always gets on me about forgetting things. That's a whole nother separate deal. 2 of Georgia's regular season SEC games, as I continue, have been assigned to the flex window, which means kickoff times will be between 3:30 and 4:30 and 6 or 8. So the window for Georgia-Auburn and Auburn is a night window, which is between 6 and 8 p.m. I'm hoping for 6 p.m. Because we got to get on the road and head back to Athens after that. But it could be 8 p.m. Either way, it's going to be under the lights. I expect a crazy environment. A lot of people are high on Auburn. I'm not sure. I think they've got a real quarterback issue. If they play that kid from that transfer from Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold, I think they're in real trouble. I don't think that kid can play. But they've got some talent. They should be improved. I don't think they're all that great. I think Georgia's better than them. But that could easily be a really tricky game if Georgia doesn't bring their A game under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Could be a good one. Yeah, so let's go over. Oh, Texas is that flex as well. So that it's going to be either 3:30, 4 or 4:30 or between 6 and 8. So there's those two windows there. Either way, when Texas comes to town, when they go into the fourth quarter, the lights are shining. You got everything's going on, right? You got the fans doing their thing. You got the battle hymn heading into the fourth quarter. I mean, you got it all. It's an electric atmosphere. It's one of the best in college football. I've been to a lot of games. I've been to a lot of games going into the fourth quarter, obviously. Every stadium's got their little thing, but it really doesn't get a whole lot better than what they do in Athens. So Arch Manning, he's going to see those lights shining all over the place. He's going to see that Sanford Stadium crowd rocking at night. So even though could be a 3:30 game, I'm expecting it to be at night. I'm expecting 7:30, but there's a chance it could be 3:30, 4, 4:30. Either way, going into the fourth quarter, it's going to be dark. It's going to be crazy. And the latter part of that game, or the whole game, is going to be at night at Sanford Stadium, is going to be another electric atmosphere. 5 stars, right? That's what I'm expecting for both Alabama and Texas. And then the Ole Miss game, October 18th, is that same window. Could be 3:30, 4:30, if I'm reading this correctly, or the 6 to 8 window. So again, another game probably under the lights the entire time. If it's at 3:30, then under the lights for the fourth quarter. Either way, they're going to have to play really well to come into Athens and win that game. Okay, so let's go over the whole schedule quickly, okay? August 30th, Marshall comes to town. That's 3:30. Okay, so week 1, 3:30 game against Marshall. Should be at 11 a.m. If not, should be at noon, but it's 3:30. What are you going to do? Austin Peay, week 2, September 6th. Another 3:30 game, and it's on ESPN. The Marshall game is on ESPN as well. Austin Peay is ESPN Plus / SEC Network Plus, 3:30, September 6th. Then we start getting to the big games. At Tennessee, 3:30, ABC. I've covered 17, 19, 21, and 23. I've covered 4 games in Neyland Stadium. Georgia has not had an issue there. They have just not had an issue. The crowd has not been elite, in my opinion. I think the Auburn crowd has been crazier than the Tennessee crowd, just from games I've covered in my own experience. But should be a great atmosphere. It always is for the first quarter and pregame, right? I'll give them that. But it can get quiet real quick up in Knoxville. But 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Georgia plays at Tennessee, September 13th. Then they're off, and then Alabama comes to town. Like I said earlier, 7:30 on ABC. The Tennessee game is also on ABC. So I'm getting a little out of sorts here, but at Tennessee, ABC, Alabama in Athens, 7:30 ABC. Next week, Kentucky. That's a noon game, like I said earlier, ABC or ESPN on October 4th. So set your alarm there. Don't oversleep from your big Friday night, because that's a noon game. Then they go at Auburn, like I talked about earlier. That's a, quote, night game. So either 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. But it's in that night window, but there's not an exact time. TBA on who is televising that game. The next week, Ole Miss comes to town, October 18th. That's the flex, okay? So 3:30, 4, 4:30, or between 6 or 8. So they got that 2 windows there in Athens. Should be electric. Florida, always 3:30. Georgia, Florida, 3:30. Always going to be. And then that's an ABC as well. They got the bye week there before. So it's Ole Miss, bye week. And then at Florida, my sister-in-law is getting married that day. So I will be watching that game on some TV. I might miss the ceremony, but it's Georgia, Florida. So I got to say, sorry. My wife's going to be real angry, but I mean, it's Georgia, Florida, right? I'm missing the game, but I'm going to have it on my phone. I'm going to have it at the reception going on. Either way, y'all don't care. You don't care. That's my problem. That's not your problem. Week after that, at Mississippi State. That's a noon game. Like I said earlier, noon Eastern, 11 Central Time, ABC or ESPN. Then Texas comes to town November 15th in Athens. That's the flex, okay? So again, the 2 window period. Either way, Arch Manning better be ready, because that crowd's going to be going nuts. And a lot of that game, maybe all of that game, is going to be at night. Then Charlotte comes to town. That's 12:45, SEC Network. And then Georgia Tech in Atlanta, 3:30 ABC, Black Friday, November 28th. I love that game's on Friday. I absolutely love it. I love it even more that it's at 3:30, because that game in Athens last year, 8 overtime. That one didn't get over until late. But I'm not trying to complain. I love my job. I got the best job ever. But yeah, you do remember when you leave these games. The one at Tuscaloosa last year was the worst. But again, y'all don't care. That's fine. It's just me talking now. But yeah, it should be a great schedule. It is an all-time schedule. Alabama at Georgia, under the lights. Texas at Georgia, under the lights. Under the lights at Auburn. 3:30 at Tennessee. Ole Miss is coming to Athens. That's going to be at night. So epic schedule. You can read more about this over on dawgpost.com. Sorry for the rambling. I can kind of get into it a little bit. My daughter's still sleeping, so I wanted to kind of talk quickly and wrap this up before she wakes up and starts crying. Just dad life, covering the dog's life, right? Okay. Thanks. This is a bad video. I hope y'all stayed all the way through. If you did, I love you. I love you. Y'all are the best. And I hope to see y'all at some of these games. If you see the Dawg Post crew walking around, make sure to say hello. We love talking to y'all. We really appreciate all of you watching. The season's right around the corner in a way. Not really. We got a couple months left. Now I'm definitely rambling. Thanks a lot. Love you. And I'll see you on the next video.